When I was a white belt, I entered an expert level Jiu Jitsu competition and I ended up tapping a brown belt. This is how it happened. So I was but a white belt, wanting to challenge himself by going into the expert division, but there was one problem. To do the expert division, I had to earn my spot by winning the beginner division. Here's my first match. I start the match off by trying to wrestle up, but fails. I go shin on shin, and my opponent starts driving his knee through for a knee slice. However, he puts his arm at the side of my head, which gives me the chance to start taking his back. I see the back take isn't really there anymore, so instead, I start squeezing to get the arm triangle. My opponent starts falling over to the side, and I try to get the finish, but he starts giving up his back. So instead, I sit down and start putting in my hooks. I slide my arm under his neck, but he's able to pull it back down. While this match was going down, my first opponent in the expert division was in the stands watching the match. Just kidding. I just thought this guy looked scary. But not as scary as Chris, the brown belt I'd actually be facing in the expert division. But let's get back into the match. I spent some more time attacking from the back. I stay there for a while until I'm able to get under the neck and lock up the rear naked choke.
Nice. Good shit.
Unfortunately, I lost most of the footage of my second match, but here's the rare submission that I ended up hitting in the end. I lock up a Kimura, then I throw my leg over to transition to the triple plata. I use my leg to push his wrist behind his back and get the tap. I only had to win one more match to qualify for the expert division. Having just submitted my last two opponents, I was feeling confident going into this match. Let's see if that works in my favor. I enter into Ashi. Then my opponent forces me to reap. Reaping is an illegal technique, so I put my hands up to make sure I don't get DQ'd. I hit an arm drag and come on top. Then, I go for a knee slice. He tries using his frames to keep me away, but I'm able to drive through. I go to mount, and I hear some advice from my corner.
Samurai roll. There you go.
I go for a samurai roll, and I start looking for a twister. There was a $100 cash prize at this tournament for anyone who could hit a twister. Would I get the money? I'll be real with you, the answer is no. My opponent starts spinning, causing me to lose the chance of getting the twister and $100. I may have lost my chance to get a twister, but for mount, I hit an Americana and I get the tap, cementing my spot in the expert division. The bracket was full of killers, and my first opponent was no exception. I'd be facing Chris Crawford, a 10th planet brown belt known for his devastating leg locks.
Oh!
Will I be able to make it out of the match with my legs in one piece? Let's find out. I start the match in classic Josh fashion by pulling guard, but I don't stay there for long. I hit an ankle pick and come on top. Then, I start putting pressure on Chris's guard. The knee slice was one of the only guard passes I was good at as a white belt, so I keep going for that. I bring my knee across and start going for the knee slice. Chris tries framing me away, but I'm able to drive through his frames and get the pass. I now have Chris pinned down in side control, something I did not expect to happen so early in the match. I try looking for a submission, but Chris has tight frames. I go knee on belly, but he pummels his foot in front of my face and reguards. Chris goes to De La Hiva guard, and uses his feet to push me down to the mat. I'm afraid that Chris might try to leg lock me here. Luckily, I'm able to get back to my feet before that happens. I try knee slicing again, but Chris sucks me into rubber guard. This is where I started to get scared. See, Chris is a 10th planet brown belt, so I knew he had a very dangerous rubber guard. The only reason I kept my cool here was because my coach Ray was actually a 10th planet black belt himself and had taught me how to defend against rubber guard. I start stacking Chris. By bringing his knee to the mat, it makes it hard for him to keep the rubber guard. He tries butterfly sweeping me, but I base and continue the pass. Chris frames hard to stop me from knee slicing, so I used the only other pass I was good at, the hip switch. I end up in side control. I had Chris pinned, but he was far from defeated. He throws up an inverted triangle, but I'm able to escape just as we go out of bounds. While waiting for Chris to reset, I realized I had more left in my gas tank than he did. I start acting like I know how to wrestle, even though I really don't.
Psych!
I go shin on shin, then I grab an arm drag and pull Chris into Ashi. I get an underhook and I just stand up to get the sweep. I felt that I had Chris on the back foot, but everything was about to change. The match was coming to an end and neither of us could find a submission, so it was going to go into overtime. In overtime, we take turns starting in either the armbar or back position until someone can find the submission. I start overtime on Chris's back. He tries bringing his head to the mat to escape, but I stay ear to ear. He tries hopping over my hook, but I use my knee as a wedge and reinsert my leg for full back control. I'm on Chris's back for a while, that is, until something crazy happens. My arm finds a way under his neck. Then I just keep squeezing until I get the tap by rear naked choke. So that's it, guys. That's how I... Wait, what's this? What? I thought I tapped him out. I may have submitted Chris, but because I attacked first, he was now getting a chance to tap me out. And he chose the armbar position, where he was just one grip break away from breaking my arm. If I could escape this, I'd win the match. Chris grabs my leg so I can't get up. I try freeing my leg, but it doesn't work, so I'm forced to use desperate measures. I start using my foot to push Chris's face away, which is legal. He locks up a bicep slicer, but as he does, I free my leg and start stacking him. Chris underhooks my leg and really starts squeezing the bicep slicer. It hurts, but not enough for me to tap yet. One mistake here and the match could be over though, so I had to be careful. Just as my arms are gassing out, I bring Chris's knees over his head and start prying his legs open to get the escape and win the match. That's the story of how I beat a brown belt as a white belt. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and if you're wondering what happened in my next match, well, since I had no leg lock defense, I ended up getting heel hooked in about 15 seconds. Which definitely sucked, but it brought home the lesson that there's always going to be a bigger fish, but just gotta keep grinding. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.